Hi everybody, my name is Prasadini Shetty and you're watching a brand new episode of Movie Review Mondays. Firstly, I'd like to apologize. The uploads have not been consistent. That is because, I don't know if you noticed, we've moved offices and things have been a bit hectic, but hopefully, being the keyword, it will be more consistent. But until then, I apologize. I want to make these episodes, but sometimes the schedules don't line up. But that's okay because today is a very interesting episode. We are actually doing our first ever short film. I've been watching so many long films that take up like half of my day, take up 14 hours of my time. Lord of the Rings, that I thought it'd be fun to do a short film because I needed a break. And it's also one of my favorite short films ever. We're talking about, pardon my French, La Corzo. All French people just clicked off this video. But anyway, it's also called The Piano Tuner, and it's a 2010 psychological drama thriller written and directed by Oliver Triner. It stars, I'm gonna completely butcher all of these names, bear with me, Grégoire Lepronce Ringouet, Danielle Lebrun, and Gregory Garebois. Please tell me in the comments how wrong I was with every single letter that I just pronounced. But if you don't know what this film is about, it's about Adrian, who is this young pianist prodigy. He collapsed psychologically, having failed in a renowned competition, and henceforth works as a piano tuner, hence the title of the movie. As remedy to this life, he invents a blind person's mask to penetrate into the intimacy of his customers. This subtlety allows Adrian to get back the taste for music, but since he sees things he should not see, Adrian ends up witnessing a murder. Love it. Love it when there's murder in a film. I'm instantly hooked. So I just want to say, from the start of this film, it's very engaging. It literally pulls you into the world that's set up in this universe, this story. It's very engaging. It has this hook. You are thrown into this situation where there's a guy who's naked for some reason, or at least he's not wearing a t-shirt, playing the piano. There's somebody standing behind him, and we also see the shot of this old man sitting on a couch. And these shots are placed in such a way that have such an eerie presence to them. You have no idea what's happening. There's piano playing, but everything about it just feels like the sequence in which you see the shots where there's an old man on a couch, which is seemingly a very normal thing, but then you see a guy with no t-shirt playing piano, and there's somebody, you can clearly see there's somebody standing behind him. These shots in a sequence just instantly like pull you into the film, and they add this really good thrilling element which you want to know more. And then we are sort of, pushed into the start of the film where our main character explains what's going on. And there are a bunch of short films on YouTube. Everybody makes a short film, and it's very hard to make something so engaging from the start. So to have a hook that takes you in, it's very important, and I think this film does it really well. The beats of this film are very, the pacing of this film is very very instrumental. I feel like it has that pacing that's very ebb and flowic, and I think this can be credited to the writing of the film because it's written so well, and it's written in such a tight space that it helps you go through the beats one by one. There is a piano instrumental that's throughout the film, or at least mostly throughout the film, except for when there are silences. The introduction of our main character is solid. It's right there. This is who I am, this is what I do, this is my story. It sort of gives us this struggle of this guy who wanted to be he is a prodigy. He wanted to get an award and get accepted into this institution that's very important, but something happens, he fails the exam, gets depressed. So you give him a struggle, he fails at it, but then he gets out of it by being a piano tuner, because he needs to have his love for his music stay throughout his life. But then he decides to pretend to be blind because there are a lot of advantages to that, which he explains. It sort of gives you this insight into his head. You're like, why would anyone do that? But then you see why he would do that. It makes a lot of sense. And this film has a very voyeuristic look, which makes sense because we're following a blind guy. And even one of the conversations, it's a very big part of the film. He's the friend or his agent is talking about like that's voyeurism, and you see that through camera movements. You see that through blocking. When he is playing the piano and this girl is dancing in the background, but she's not the focus. His shoulder is, but it's positioned in such a way where you're like, I feel like I shouldn't be looking at it, but I am, which is exactly how he feels. So it's a very interesting dynamic, and it's interesting through camera angles and blocking, but it doesn't feel gross. Like you don't feel like you shouldn't be watching this. You're actually very interested to watch it. I like that the story just unfolds right in front of our eyes, no pun intended, and it does it in a very natural way, and the person who introduces us to this world is the lead, and he does it through narration. I love it when films have a narrator. I know a lot of people don't like that trope because it feels like it's just spoon-feedy, but I feel like this film does it in a very interesting way where it doesn't feel like you're being fed information. It just feels like you're being filled in, like, through context. It feels like something really cool happened at a party that you weren't invited for, but then your friend is telling you all about it, and you're like, wow, I kind of wish I was there. Not story of my life. But I love the narration in this film, and I feel like the narration is what makes this makes the beats of the film flow in a very interesting way, because the pacing, it's a 13-minute film. It has a lot of elements in it. I feel like it has an act 1, act 2, and act 3, and because of the writing and the narration, it flows. But yeah, I think through cinematography as well, this film conveys stories. It gives you information, but not too quick. For example, when he goes to this apartment where he needs to do his, like, the final client in the film, he goes to their apartment, you don't get a lot of information. You only see what the character sees. Everything seems fine. I mean, I would say that this film wouldn't feel like much of a thriller if it weren't for this sequence. And it also ties in the start of the film. He goes into the apartment, he slips on a random liquid, and then it's when he gets up is when you see, oh, it's actually blood. Now, obviously, if there's blood involved, there is going to be suspicion, there's going to be a mystery, the mystique around the whole thing, because what is a pool of blood doing on the floor in this apartment of an old couple? And then things sort of start making sense, but you're still in the dark because so is our main character. And when the blood is revealed, I feel like that's when the film, has all hands on deck. Everything, it feels like this is where it's going to unfold. This is where we're going to get the answers to the start of the film. And there is a lingering piano throughout. I mean, obviously, it's a film about a piano tuner. And the music is actually given by Raphael Schreiner. And it is so subtle, but it feels sort of, it has this like melancholic tune to it, but then there's also suspense. Because I feel like I think the piano was the best instrument to base this movie on when it came to music, because piano can be whatever you want it to be. It can be romantic, it can be dramatic, it can be sad, it can be suspenseful, and this film uses that as an instrument, literally, to pour like this like thrilling element to it, which I think is great. Speaking of the music, the end, I want to talk about the climax. It was so interesting. It was an open-ended conclusion. I love open ending in films. Basically, what happens is a couple, the old man in that old couple had hired this guy to be his piano tuner. Our main character goes, rings the bell. The lady's like, "Oh, my husband isn't home. Can you come back again?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm blind. It took me a long time to come here. Can you just might as well open the door?" She opens the door, And when he walks in, he slips onto the pool of blood, and he notices the old man on the couch, but the old man isn't moving. Now, the greatest challenge, the dilemma of this guy is that he is blind, or at least they think that he's blind, and if he just pretends to be blind, everything will be fine. All he needs to do is just play. He just needs to play the music and get the hell out of here. And then you sort of get the ending, get the start of the film where he's playing the piano. There's an old man on the couch, but now we know that this old lady killed her husband. We don't know who this old lady is. We don't know why she killed the husband. We just know that our main character, who is our eye to this world, is in that position. And then she goes and gets a gun. And you see our main character just playing the piano, and he's like, as long as you play, you're safe. I don't know what happens once I stop playing. And then the movie just ends there, and you're left in this world of, whoa, what? The piano's still playing. As the credits roll, the piano's playing. I think that was such a genius thing to do, because it's open-ended, but still the movie is going, the piano is going as well, and we know what happens once the piano stops playing. I think, so the way I was introduced to this film was because of another Bollywood film. It's called Andhadhun. It came out in 2018, and actually no, that's not possible. It came out somewhat after 2019, but this core idea of a guy who's a piano player pretends to be blind, this was the main core of Andhadhun as well, but it was not, that was not the whole film, that was just the basis of it. But I that made me want to check out the original that was based on, and it quickly became one of my favorite shorts ever, because it has elements in a film that I really enjoy. It's a thriller. I love thriller. I love a well-done thriller. It has a narrator. Love it. Spoon feed me all the context, but don't dumb it down, please. It has a very interesting premise that is interesting enough on its own, where it doesn't need to sort of build a plot around it. It's just there, and it's cool because it keeps you wondering. And I feel like when short films have sort of an open end, it's very easy to build on that, instead of it being an open and close chapter, because I feel like sometimes with short films you can go wrong when you do that. Beautiful music, beautiful performances. It's super subtle. Love the lead so much. He is very talented. He acts with his eyes, which is, I think, so important. Even the music, like it's an important part of the film, and it's done in a very melancholic, thrilling way. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you guys to check out the film. It's actually on YouTube, the whole film. I will link it in the description for you guys. If I had to rate this film, I would rate it 2 pairs of eyes out of 5. So yeah, it's a very brilliant film. It's only 13 minutes. It's really tightly written, really well directed. The lead is amazing, and I think you guys will like it. So go watch The Piano Tuner. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you liked it, and I will see you again on a Monday. I don't know which Monday, but it'll definitely be on a Monday with another episode of Movie Review Mondays. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked it. Have a good day. Bye!